Hey friends, let's get started on our third clue sheet for the Disappearing Donuts challenge. Let's begin by reading the directions. Here we're told to use the grid and find a number of clues that the police have collected. However, unfortunately, only one of these clues is correct. We're going to complete the rounding questions and then look for your answers in the statement boxes and cross out that box, meaning that the statement in that box has been eliminated. The one statement box left standing after completing all of the questions is the one with the correct clue. So when we take a look at these statements, such as, I'm pretty sure I saw a man making donuts disappear, we don't know yet if this is a true statement or not. Our job is to potentially eliminate that clue by solving problems. So let's go ahead and get started. Okay, so this is the first problem. It asks us to round 6 and 542 thousandths to the nearest tenth. Let's begin by rewriting our number and identifying the place value for the decimal digits. So this is our tenths place, this is our hundredths place, and these are easy to remember probably because your tenths place, that would be like your dimes if it was money. And your hundredths place, those would be your pennies if it was money. Next we have our thousandths place. So the digit in the hundredths place is the one we're going to use to help us round this number to the tenths place. The digit in the thousandths place, we can just ignore. We don't need that for now. When you're rounding a number to the nearest tenths place, you're essentially asking yourself, is this number closer to 6 5/10, or is it closer to 6 6/10? And like I said, we're going to use this digit in the hundredths place to help us do that. So in between 6 5/10 and 6 6/10, we can divide this space into 10 equal pieces. And each of these locations we could mark. This would be 6 51 hundredths, 6 52 hundredths, 6 53 hundredths, and here we would have 6 54 hundredths. So now we can see that 6 54 hundredths is closer to 6 5/10 than it is to 6 6/10. So since it's 5 or less, this digit here is 5 or less, let it rest, that would round to just 6 5/10. So I'm going to record my answer here, 6 5/10, and then I need to find that somewhere in my statement boxes and cross it out. Here it is. The statement is, it must be one of those cheeky fairies. They love playing tricks. We're going to cross this out. It is not a true statement. And then we're going to keep rounding and see what other statements we can cross out. Okay, so now we're rounding 6 and 542 thousandths to the nearest whole number. If you were to show that on a number line, that would be like saying, is this number closer to 6 or is it closer to 7? Now, in order to figure this out, we're going to use the next door digit, which is the digit in the tenths place, to help us find its closest whole number. Okay, so I can plot, let's see, I can plot this number. Here's 6, 6 1/10, 6 2/10, 6 3/10, 6 4/10, 6 5/10 is right here, right in the middle. Five or more go up a floor, so that means that I'm going to round up to 7. Since I'm rounding to the nearest whole number, I don't need to consider the hundredths or the thousandths digits. I just look at that tenths place. Okay, so 6 5/10 is closer to 7, so now I can eliminate this clue. That is not a true statement, so I'm going to cross it out. Okay, this is the last one we're going to do together. We're going to round this number to the nearest hundredth. Now, this number actually goes past the tenths place, past the hundredths place, past the thousandths place, and actually goes to the 10,000ths place. So this number would be read 8,078 10,000ths. So we need to round it to the nearest hundredth. So here's my tenths place, here's my hundredths place, and the next door digit, which is the thousandths place, will help me round that. Since I'm rounding to the nearest hundredths place, I'm trying to figure out if my number is closer to 80 hundredths or if it's closer to 81 hundredths. I can mark the location 807 thousandths here, and that shows that it's closer to 81 hundredths. Remember, since this digit here is a 7, I can remember my handy rhyme, 5 or more go up a floor. So that's why I rounded up to 81 hundredths. So now that's another clue I can cross out from my list. All right, now you guys continue on crossing out clues, and whichever clue is left when you're done is the true statement that you can then use, refer back to your character list, and update it using the last remaining clue.